in the RSS's worldview, the Sikhs are Hindus. In the Sikh worldview, the one thing they are not is Hindus. It's often said that the Punjab or the Sikhs lack a historical memory and move on quickly. Partition massacres gone, militancy gone, there's a new thing. What they have is a very deep theological memory.
All kinds of crises seem to be hitting Punjab, and of course the issue of Sikh extremism, Sikh radicalization, the problem with the Dalits in Punjab, the kind of fragmentation with the Deras coming in, with new kind of religious figures coming in.
I think we have given BJP more time than it deserves in Punjab. The BJP's best bet with the Akali Dal is simply that there will be enough of a divide for them to become a player in Punjab politics.
A lot of people I talk to do talk about the vulnerabilities of AAP, and as with many other regional parties, and its inability to counter the kind of influence, especially if the BJP and the Akalis come together, the kind of money and power and IA.
Despite the years of militancy, despite Blue Star, Punjab has voted for the Congress after that.
Akalis and the BJP will eventually come together and fight the election. Otherwise, neither of them will benefit. The question is, what will be the ratio in which they will contest seats, and what is the kind of power sharing?
The Sikh opposition to Brahmanism, which the crudeness of Bhindranwale takes into very different communal directions, has been very clear. And the BJP epitomizes Brahmanism.
Any kind of politics that takes place, however fierce it is, however dramatically it is contested, one is that no return to violence and no return to extremism. Punjab doesn't need that at all. Hello and welcome to the Caravan Long View. I'm Sushant Singh.
And I'm Hartosh Singh Bal.
So today we are going to talk about Punjab, as we had promised in the last episode. Punjab, as many of you know, is a name given by Ibn Battuta in one of his travels. It's a Persian word, Panj and Aab, 5 waters or 5 rivers. That is what the original Punjab was. Today's Punjab, or the Punjab that is part of India, is essentially 2 out of those 5 rivers and 1/6 of the area of the original Punjab. Now, why is Punjab significant? Of course, it's going for state assembly elections next year, along with UP and Manipur, probably in February or maybe even earlier. But the reason it is important is that 2% of India's population is Sikhs, and almost 2/3 of that population lives within Punjab. But Punjab is not some 90%, 95% Sikh. Punjab is only 56% Sikh population. So it's essentially 40% Hindus and 50% Sikh. But what also makes Punjab interesting is, and that many people forget, that Punjab is the state with the highest Dalit population in the country. Almost 1/3 of Punjab is Dalit population. And you have, besides the Sikh clergy and the Jat Sikhs, you have all these Deras, you have all these other religious groups. Now you have questions about Christianity, Dalit Christians, and so on. And more recently, we have seen a great impetus from the BJP about Punjab. The new BJP president, Nitin Nabeen, has been going on. He has just spent 3 days inside Punjab, done road shows, and has been claiming that BJP is going to win Punjab and change the face of Punjab, whatever that means. And clearly the person in charge, the points person for Punjab, seems to be the Haryana Chief Minister, Saini. And I think because his mother is a Punjabi and he can speak Punjabi, you see him virtually spending 1 to 2 days a week inside Punjab rather than governing Haryana, talking about it. And Punjab primarily is the only state where you have so many parties in contention and not as an alliance. So let's say Maharashtra has 6 or 7 parties, but there are 2 alliances. Or Kerala has so many parties, there are 2 alliances, and then there's BJP. What you have in Punjab is 3 to 4 very active parties, each of them operating independently very powerfully. So of course you have the Aam Aadmi Party, which is the ruling party in Punjab currently. You have the Congress Party, which has ruled Punjab for a long time. You have the Akalis, which had ruled, but clearly seem to be on the wane under Badal's son. And then you have the BJP, which seems to be coming out, all out with making all the typical noises with the huge PR and propaganda campaign about Punjab, although the results in the recent local body polls were not that great. Before we move further into understanding what the politics of Punjab is, Hartosh, why don't we start with the ideological landscape of the Punjab? You are someone who spent a lot of time in Punjab as a journalist, although you may not have grown up in that state, but you have a sense of what the ideological landscape of Punjab is.
See, I think the Punjab politics, and if you look at it in the context of India, clearly it's an outlier. One is it's the only state, apart from Jammu Kashmir, some states in the northeast, where you have a majority which is non-Hindu, basically. And that majority is not from what the RSS calls a non-Indian religion. It comes from Sikhism. In the RSS's worldview, the Sikhs are Hindus. In the Sikh worldview, the one thing they are not is Hindus. And this basic clash of perception, belief, and reality underlies all the politics of Punjab. We need to understand that Punjab has the full play of caste as well. It has the full play of whatever you use in North Indian politics or politics above the Vindhyas to describe EBCs, OBCs. This happens in the south, but it takes its own forms in the north. All that is at play, but it is skewed by the existence of Sikhism itself. So the BJP's great desire, the BJP does not deal with the Sikh minority. This word minority itself is loaded. In Punjab, the Sikhs are not a minority. They are overall a minority. It does not deal with the Sikh minority in the same way it deals with Christians or Muslims. And I think you could see the difference in the CAA protests and what you see in the farm protests. The BJP will not come out directly harshly on the Sikhs in the same way it comes down on Muslims. It is because it believes these are people from their own fold. They would consider them misguided, which is why they will always drum up Khalistan to explain why the Sikhs are not with the BJP. Muslims, by their very existence, are anti-national. Sikhs are our people, but they are misguided by these Khalistanis, and that's the difference of perception through which the RSS operates. But if you look at the view from within Punjab, and this is something that people don't understand from the outside, despite the years of militancy, despite Blue Star, Punjab has voted for the Congress after that. Yet, BJP, which will notionally in its opportunistic way criticize Blue Star while having endorsed and supported it, will criticize the 84 massacres in November, which was of course organized by the Congress, but the RSS fully supported it, but now they will distance themselves and claim delivering justice. That they have, in their own perception, done nothing to alienate the Sikhs, yet they do not get a chance. Even when they were in power with the Akalis, they were secondary partners who did not matter in the state. It is simply because the BJP's fundamental worldview is something that the Sikhs will not countenance. Sikhs as Hindus is a line that cannot be crossed, and as long as the BJP toes that line, and there's no way to avoid it, this is encoded into the whole belief framework of the RSS, and as long as it is encoded, the Sikhs are not going to be one with the BJP or the RSS, whatever else other games are played on the ground.
But Hartosh, is it not true that BJP is not directly saying it anymore like what it was doing, let's say 30, 40 years ago? More and more it is silent about this issue. And before we go further, I think people should realize how the SGPC came about, which is a constitutional body separate from the Akal Takht. The origins of the SGPC lie in the fact that Mahants were trying to convert, post-Arya Samaj in the early 20th century, late 19th century, people were trying to convert all these Sikh Gurdwaras into temples. There were Hindu idols were being put at that point in time, and that is when this voice rose, which is essentially the kind of very modern Sikh voice that you currently see. But unlike, let's say, 30, 40 years ago, the BJP and the RSS are now silent about this fact, whether Sikh is a separate religion or they are the Hindu. They are part of Hinduism. You also don't see that kind of argument which used to be very prevalent earlier, that Sikhs were Hindus, which were the sword arm of the Hindus against the Muslims, which was a big mythology emerging primarily out of the Arya Samaj construct, where the founder of the Arya Samaj, another Gujarati, Dayanand Saraswati, went after Guru Nanak, went after the holy book, went after everyone, and the kind of language that he used in his Satyarth Prakash against Sikhs and against the holy books and against the Sikh gurus, if someone to now put that out, would actually put the BJP and all the supporters of Arya Samajis to shame. The point I'm trying to make is BJP in its political avatar, today's political avatar, trying to tread a very fine line where it can confuse, if or mislead a section of Sikhs, if not the whole Sikhs, by being silent on the issue and not talk about Sikhs, actively talk about Sikhs being a part of Hinduism?
See, the one essential fact you have to realize, and this is true about Punjab and the Sikhs a million times over. It's often said that the Punjab or the Sikhs lack a historical memory and move on quickly. Partition massacres gone, militancy gone, there's a new thing. What they have is a very deep theological memory. The forgetting of what happened in, say, the 17th century or the 16th century, or who was involved in that, none of that ever disappears. The SGPC you pointed towards, its actual genesis lies in the fact that the Singh Sabha movements that started in the late 19th century were a counter and an answer to the growing influence of the Arya Samaj and some Christian conversion among the Sikh nobility, as happened, whatever Sikh nobility was. They were the ones who cooperated with the British in some senses. The Sikh Sabha movement, then over a period of time, the Mahants were actually Udasis, which were a breakaway Sikh sects who settled in the Gurdwaras, and the British endorsed their hold over the Gurdwaras. The Akali movement was born out of this protest to reclaim the Gurdwaras. And the SGPC was formed when the British finally conceded the demands and passed an act of government. The problem really lies is the SGPC is a theological body, but it is governed by an act of parliament, so it is also a government body in some senses. So the Jathedars who are supposed to speak for the faith are in some ways indirectly government appointees also.
But you can blame Badal for a lot of what the merging of the SGPC and Akal Takht and the complete capture.
It was, the SGPC was always a front for the Akali Dal. No other party ever had. What happened was Badal destroyed the inner dynamics of the Akali Dal, where there was always more than one important leader. He destroyed Thoda, Longowal. If you go back in the history, there were always very strong, prominent leaders. But the foundational text in the Singh Sabha movement, and it has remained foundational in Sikh memory, is the books in the 1890s by Khan Singh Nabha, which simply, and it was published in with this Hindi titles to make it clear to everybody, Hum Hindu Nahi Hain.
Correct.
And that is a theological memory. And the BJP has always been seen as the other side of it. The BJP are inheritors not just of what is seen as the Arya Samaj movement through the 60s, when the Punjabi Suba of forming the statehood of Punjab, the people saw that there was a language division, that the Hindus of Punjab who were Punjabi speakers were declaring Hindi as their mother tongue. Through the years of militancy, the Hindi and the Punjabi press was very much on opposite sides, both supporting their communal categories. But BJP was seen on this side of this communal category. So in that categorization, this memory of the BJP is not going to get erased. So much so that unlike every other state, because this is why it is difficult for the BJP to operate in Punjab, is that the RSS has no rural penetration at all. This, if you look at all of the north of the Vindhyas, it is just, apart from Kashmir itself,
Jammu.
There is no other place where this is true. The RSS even tried to float something they call the Rashtriya Sikh Sangat. The opposition to it after a while became so strong. And well, after militancy, I think the last big incident of targeting was in about 2008 or 9. The Rashtriya Sikh Sangat chief was assassinated by the Babbars. The Rashtriya Sikh Sangat shut down its pages. You can't even find it on the web any longer. Now there is a small organization which pretends to do that kind of work. But they have moved away from their direct attempts to influence the Sikh clergy. What is now happening is indirect, that you see how the Jathedars are reacting, that Sukhbir Badal, who still controls what is happening in the SGPC, is desperately trying to make bridges to the BJP. And that is why you see the Jathedars today taking such a prominent role. But the role they are taking has been undermined over 30 years, so that the Jathedars themselves, from the time of Badal that we are talking about, seen as facets of the Akali Dal and now of Sukhbir, and their constant, I mean almost ridiculous misuse of the power or the place they are in, has made them more and more irrelevant in terms of the larger politics of Punjab. While they get a lot of attention, they do not influence people in the way that people outside the state think they do.
Yeah. No, just to clarify, when we talk about Badal, we are talking about Prakash Singh Badal, who was the
Sukhbir's
chief
father.
Sukhbir's father, who's no longer there, but who Modi called once as Nelson Mandela of India, and he was the chief minister for 15 years, I think between 1997 and 2002, and then between 2007 and 2017. And despite trying very hard, he could never make Sukhbir the chief minister. Sukhbir could only be deputy chief minister, and I think Akalis now have 1 or 2 MLAs in the assembly, or maybe even not that. We are not very sure. But funnily, what is also happening, Hartosh, in Punjab with the BJP is, as you recently saw around the anniversary of Operation Blue Star, the military operation inside the Golden Temple in 1984, you had this very prominent BJP leader and minister from Maharashtra, Girish Mahajan, who came down and actually called Bhindranwale and everybody else who fought along with against the Indian Army as Shaheed, and he used all the terminologies that the Khalistani supporters essentially use and the Sikh extremists that they use. It didn't get much reportage and coverage in Delhi-based media, but in papers like Tribune and in local media, it was all over the place. So how do you reconcile the two? At one end, you are saying that they are anti-Khalistan. They are saying with the BJP and the RSS are saying that Sikhs are Hindus. On the other hand, you have a prominent BJP leader who has been in association with the Sikhs because of Nanded, I presume, coming here and speaking from the Mehta house or Mehta place?
So where he was speaking was the Damdamami Taksal, the organization that was headed by
Bhindranwale, and where all the images and all the pictures of Bhindranwale in the 80s used to come from.
But the Taksal itself is a very different kettle of fish from that time. Over the last 8 to 10 years, they are seen as being closer and closer to the BJP, and the BJP working their way through the Taksal on many things. So when the BJP goes on the Taksal stage and sees this, it is the memory of where the BJP stands and the Punjab memory of what exists. And when I say Punjab, I mean I'm interchanging it with Sikh memory, because we must not forget that there is 40% of Hindus among the Sikhs. There are a great number of Dalits and other castes who do not see eye to eye with the small Jat Sikh component which drives this kind of narrative in Punjab. Bhindranwale, is he a hero? Well, people are afraid to voice opposition to the idea. But as a hero who will command respect among Punjabis, nobody would ever claim that. Most Punjabis dislike the figure he is, and we all know the kind of figure Bhindranwale was. And people are afraid to say it because of this kind of radical reaction. Now, when the BJP goes there and says, there are two things it says. One thing is the martyrdom of those who died inside. I think all Punjab agrees that Blue Star was a mess. It was a disaster. It was an operation that the Indian Army is rightly, I think, ashamed of and would rather not ever talk about. It is also an operation which was politically, strategically, tactically, militarily a disaster. But does that make Bhindranwale something else other than he was? A man who ran extortion nets, a man who was communal. The terminology he used for Indira Gandhi and often for Hindus, Bamani was the term, Brahman was the targeting of Hindus during the periods, the kangaroo court that ran from Darbar Sahib. All these are not issues that a lot of Punjab has forgotten. Just because it is difficult to articulate, because there is a radical segment will jump down, does not change this reality. And for the BJP to cross that line and go that side is to tell you the kind of two-faced games that they will play to come to power any which way. But I think there's a good realization in Punjab of what this means. It is not to be taken seriously. The historical memory, even the very use of the term, as I said, of Bhindranwale saying Bamani about Indira Gandhi, is a transposition that has always applied to the BJP rather than the Congress in some senses. The Sikh opposition to Brahmanism, which the crudeness of Bhindranwale takes into very different communal directions, has been very clear. And the BJP epitomizes Brahmanism. What the BJP is at the same time, while reaching out to radicalism and to who are supposedly the radical function of Punjab politics, they've been playing it in many ways. Amrit Par, for example, is in a jail somewhere else. You can't file a nomination against Modi because those get rejected. But Amritpal's is all okay, and he's suddenly fighting an election and he's winning it. And it suits only one party in Punjab to have Amritpal win an election. At one side, you are having this kind of discourse. On the other side, openly the BJP is bringing Saini into Punjab and has been saying it that the way we will win Punjab is by creating Haryana-like conditions where we will create an EBC and other caste coalition against the Jat Sikhs. You want to play both to the Jat Sikhs and you want a coalition against the Jat Sikhs. Punjab is more complicated because the coalition does not so easily materialize. Haryana does not have the religious divide. Just because you can try and reach out in this direction, you can't divide the Sikh-Hindu divide on directions. A lot of Sikhs are willing to go with large portions of the Jat Sikhs simply because of the shared Sikh identity. So the split does not run so cleanly. So BJP is running into many problems. They are trying what they usually do. I don't think even now, despite whatever we may say about Amit Shah, and we will, I guess, know in 6 to 8 months what happens, really understand Punjab. They are incapable of understanding the Sikh psyche from where they stand. They do not understand how the Sikhs think.
Or perhaps they do understand, but they really don't want to go down that path and talk about the issues that matter to Sikhs. What I see of BJP in Punjab is a mishmash of things. As you said, Saini with all that strategy, Nitin Nabeen with this PR campaign, and you have this plethora of ex-Congress leaders from Sunil Jakar to Amrinder, to Amrinder's wife, to the current
Keval
Dhillon, the big businessman, BJP state.
Once Amrinder's
right-hand man, and now Amrinder is opposed and disowning him. So you have this whole lot, and then you have the old Sampla and others who are now completely disgruntled because they've been marginalized, they were part of the BJP. And then you have this section of the BJP which also knows that the best way it has is to go and align with the Akalis, but it wants a lion's share. So there are multiple prongs, multiple strategies politically which are playing out, which don't show us great clarity at this point in time. More and more, what everybody in Punjab believes is that Akalis and the BJP will eventually come together and fight the election. Otherwise, neither of them will benefit. The question is, what will be the ratio in which they will contest seats, and what is the kind of power sharing? Because as you earlier said, even when BJP was part of the government, it really had no power. It couldn't influence any issue. It couldn't do anything. But it doesn't want it to be like that. But we have seen BJP fail in religious states or like religious minority. Even in Jammu and Kashmir, it could polarize, but it could not capture power. It couldn't capture power in Nagaland. It has always struggled in states which have strong religious minorities. Kerala, for example, it can have a foothold, but it really can't overcome those disadvantages of the fact that it is a Hindutva supremacist party in a certain sense, or a Hindu supremacist party in a certain sense, which is opposed to the religious minorities. The way also the BJP leadership treated the farmers' movement just a couple of years ago, or the way it created this whole narrative of Khalistan and went after the diaspora groups in the US and Canada and the UK. I don't think it is that easy to overcome, especially with a community with long memory and with a lot of resources. You just can't overcome that, and everybody will forget about it.
So I think, while rightly so, because of the aura Amit Shah commands in the political imagination of Delhi and much of India, I think we have given BJP more time than it deserves in Punjab. The BJP's best bet with the Akali Dal is simply that there will be enough of a divide for them to become a player in Punjab politics. I mean, what you have to look at is what is happening in the rest of the political sphere, where actual decisions will take place. And while AAP has huge number of problems, it has one great benefit. There is nobody to actually challenge the AAP, and part of that problem starts right with how the Congress has structured itself up from the moment of the Amrinder removal 6 months before the election, how it was carried out with the Gandhi family, both Priyanka and Rahul playing strange roles, picking their own people, making huge blunders. That blunder has continued to creep into the Congress structure. This is a party that even at the worst of times was never out of contention for power in Punjab. You can go back to the history of Punjab, undivided Punjab, divided Punjab, whatever Punjab you take. It has never been in the situation it is today. And it is a situation which is primarily of the party's own making. The Punjab today would give the Congress a chance. Punjab is waiting for a Congress that will stand up and be a contender in the battle. It is looking for leadership, but it is not happening. Part of it is uh, eventually it has to come to that, and we have to speak frankly about it. However much liberal Delhi has a problem with it, Rahul's organizational incapabilities always end up creating these situations. And now we had a meeting just recently in Delhi where Punjab's 5 leaders, none of them are leaders that can lead that party. And as long as Punjab's leadership is seen as being led by the center, it will never be a leadership. You can go back to the days of Darbara Singh and Zail Singh and see the mess that was Punjab. Amrinder succeeded because he was his own man. He was seen as a man who ran Punjab on his own, whatever his other problems. Today, there's almost a nostalgia for Amrinder in the Congress. It's the kind of leader we need. So this has been badly mishandled, and that mishandling continues. As a result, a rather incompetent AAP government has really not faced the challenges any good opposition would have made it, sort of exposed it to, and the questions it has raised. Instead, we are caught up in the situation of, as we know, Maan being dealing with the Jathedars, etc.
But Hartosh, then why did AAP, despite being so strong, lose those Rajya Sabha MPs to the BJP, to Amit Shah's aura in a certain sense? And does it not mean, as you said, if AAP has its own problems and vulnerabilities being seen to be controlled by Kejriwal and Sisodia from Delhi, does it not mean that other forces, and especially some of these forces, you talk about Amritpal and other forces, could these forces not rise at the same time? You have even the character of Simranjit Singh Mann winning one Lok Sabha by poll a couple of years ago.
Losing it subsequently
very badly. So, you have these funny characters who suddenly come up because people will be disillusioned with everyone that Congress is not doing what it's supposed to do. BJP is a Hindu party. Akalis are like completely gone out of the public imagination. And AAP is controlled by Kejriwal from Delhi and doing all that it is doing, making a mess of it, not really governing or doing anything. So, is it not possible that you could have these new creatures, completely new creatures being thrown up?
Well, let's look at it. The Rajya Sabha removal from the Aam Aadmi Party. Who were the people who left? Either they were already out of favor in the AAP, or they were what we would call good, rich businessmen who, it's clear to everybody why they were given the Rajya Sabha seats by the AAP in the first place. They had no political standing. And the AAP has played this game of giving rich businessmen Rajya Sabha seats. And we all know what quid pro quo that involves. Now, if that is why you are sitting in the Rajya Sabha, you are always open to going somewhere else depending on what quid pro quo is being offered there. So that is the easy part. It does not dent the political capability of the AAP. It just exposes the hypocrisy and the nature of AAP itself, that it had picked such people. If you look at in terms of political strength, nobody who's rooted strongly in Punjab in their constituencies has gone the BJP way. They know the AAP is in power, that there's a chance it may come back to power. People like Kulka, who have unfortunately their great work on 84, put that all into question by endorsing a man who has done as much in 2002 and continue to hold an ideology. I'm talking of Modi. To go in sort of to Modi is to lay waste the years you put in. Kulka is not a man I would have referred to him with respect, but today he does not deserve the respect.
But he's been a maverick all throughout.
A maverick is different from taking an ideological position of supporting the very kind of crimes you are dedicating your life to sort of award justice to. You can't have justice for one segment and not have justice to another.
Hartosh, can I come in here for a minute? And I think this is important to note, that what is happening to Muslims all over India does agitate the Sikhs of Punjab, because they see a kind of empathy, a kind of similarity as to how religious minorities are being treated. What happens to Muslims in Kashmir also agitates Sikhs in Punjab. And I have heard this many times. And this is what people forget.
Because the other part of it is that being a minority in this country makes you experience the fate of other minorities. Having been targeted by the same majority, the party in question, the Congress, does not make a difference. you have a certain sympathy and understanding of what is unfolding with Muslims in this country and to a degree with Christians in many parts of the country. And that fellow feeling, it was true. The FAR movement made it clear from the beginning that it would project this and state this over and over again. And the traditional, whatever animosity that people believe existed post-partition, you look at it today, you are seeing a migration of Muslims from the Indo-Gangetic plain into Punjab in some senses, because this place is not a place any human being is being allowed to live with the kind of decency as a minority that a democracy is supposed to award you. So that much is very much true. And there's a permanent recognition of the BJP is in this. The AAP is at a reasonable place because there is nobody to challenge them. The challenge from here is not going to matter. Sukhbir himself is so badly compromised that the Akali Dal is at its weakest. So, at a time when opposition is needed, the Congress and the Akali Dal are at their historic lows. Since 47, we have never had a Congress this bad or an Akali Dal this bad in opposition to a sort of inept governing party. I mean,
so Hartosh, before we end, elections are, they could be as early as November. Some people say they could be in February. Ideally, they would be probably in February, March. So what would be the kind of issues? We hear about drugs, we hear about unemployment, we hear about problems with the farm, problems with agriculture, we hear about lack of industrialization, we hear problems of the diaspora. Punjab, if you were to talk to somebody, would look to be completely the depleting water tables, the all kinds of crises seem to be hitting Punjab, and of course the issue of Sikh extremism, Sikh radicalization, the problem with the Dalits in Punjab, the kind of fragmentation with the Deras coming in, with new kind of religious figures coming in. What will be the kind of issues which would come up in the election when the elections happen? It can't just be fought on figures like Modi and Shah and whatever.
See, I mean, I think a lot of other sort of emotive questions always go into it. We tend to look at sort of economic or physical issues. Part of it is the discourse on Punjab has always been skewed. The Jat prediction of Punjab, if you look at Punjab popular music, for example, you would believe that Punjab consists only of Jats. The Jats themselves are between 25 to 30, I'd lean closer to 30% of the population. They are very strong as a bloc because unlike the Dalits, Dalit is a descriptive category, but the Dalits of Punjab are divided by religion, by caste into various fragments who will not come together or see eye to eye on huge number of political issues. Some are with the BJP, some with the Akali Dal, some with the Congress. Traditionally more with the Congress, but that is no longer holding true. In this context, we have to look at that there will be again, if we must not rule out that the BJP's work on the other castes will not reap some benefits, because this is a thrust that has not been tried in Punjab before, and there is to some degree, not like Haryana, where the antipathy among the caste to the Jats was very visible. It is not the same kind of antipathy. It doesn't coalesce into the same kind of politics because a lot of the Sikh castes would rather go on Sikh issues with the Sikhs rather than with any BJP-inspired move. But all these divides will be very, very important in this each, like we were talking about the Jathedars going after Maan. These are not going to be central issues, but what will happen is all these issues will influence a 2% here or a 3% here, and the election will be made out of a coming together of these issues. In that, yet my reading is, while people are not happy with the AAP, the disgruntled with the AAP does not have a place to go to. And this is the scenario which we are seeing. And while there will be a lot of issues that will be raised, this fundamental problem is what is going to settle or decide or leave us in the quandary of Punjab politics. So Punjab will perhaps proceed in the same way, inheriting the same problems after the elections that exist before it.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with you. My only sense about Punjab is that a lot of people I talk to do talk about the vulnerabilities of AAP, and as with many other regional parties, and its inability to counter the kind of influence, especially if the BJP and the Akalis come together, the kind of money and power and NIA and CBI and ED they can bring to a lot of people.
The Uddhav Thackeray, the TMC.
We have seen that happen to a lot of regional parties, and it may happen to them, especially if the Akalis and the BJP come together, so that Akalis can take a share of that.
That may be the Congress's best chance, by the way. way, if that happens.
No, I'm just saying these are the kind of scenarios people are
Sure.
throwing out, considering the AAP's vulnerabilities. But the one thing, the bare minimum is that any kind of politics that takes place, however fierce it is, however dramatically it is contested, one is that no return to violence and no return to extremism. Punjab doesn't need that at all. And the second thing I fear is that even after the elections, we will see the more of the same in Punjab. We can discuss these same issues, same issues coming back again. It is not going to materially change in a significant way, whatever the result is, whether AAP comes back, whether Congress gets a majority, or whether Akalis magically do something or something else comes up. These issues have not been resolved over the last 25, 30 years maybe, and they are not going to be resolved anytime soon.
And I think one issue that we have not dealt with in detail, which we had spoken about, I think it's a manifestation of many of these frustrations. This whole question, which will continue after the elections, but dominates Sikhs' discourse of the blasphemy law that is unfolding
we
in
couldn't
Punjab.
talk about it. Sorry.
And the blasphemy law is the reason there is this division between the clergy and the AAP. And what is this law? Beadbi, or the idea of Beadbi, is a law that says that the desecration of the Guru Granth Sahib. Now, the Guru Granth Sahib, after Guru Gobind Singh, was designated the Guru of the Sikhs. That is, in every matter you will consult the Guru Granth Sahib. And in my reading, and there are good theological reasons for it, but I won't get into theological. It is the Shabad, the word, the spirit of the Guru Granth Sahib, which is the Guru, not the physical text itself. But over a period of time, there has been a theological sort of unfolding which has given the Guru Granth Sahib almost a status that comes close to idolatry. That book itself has become, in its physical substance, there are interpretations which are challengeable, which will question this. The act of desecration of the book, the tearing a page, etc., is now seen as an insult or to the Guru of the Sikhs. And the law has come. I think it's a very poor understanding of both Sikhism and legislation that such a law could even be thought of or brought in. But it has been brought in, and the AAP, because this issue is what has weakened the Akalis to its points, because they had used the desecration issue to rally politics, and then it turned out they might have been involved in some of the incidents itself. Through the years of the Congress and even the AAP, it has been seen that no justice has been done on these cases, and it continues to fester. And it has become the rallying point for a lot of other issues which are pending. So when we talk of Beadbi, we should not see it purely from the lens of this theological dispute. I think it has become a signpost for all the lingering issues that you're talking about, and will continue to haunt the state. This is one place where if it is not dealt with properly, it has repercussions that we can't control in some sense.
Also on this Beadbi issue and the blasphemy law, Justice R.S. Sodhi, he had two great pieces in the Tribune, countering it and challenging it and saying it why it is the wrong solution. And the whole argument that you give, that the word matters, not the book per se, although you may be treating book like a physical person, etc., etc., etc. And I think it is extremely important that as we have this very fierce politics being contested, these kind of emotive issue actually in some way subside, and more substantive issue of the youth of Punjab, the way they're fighting, they're going all over, they're doing agriculture in Europe, etc. The challenge of unemployment, the challenge of, the depleting water levels. Water levels have really, really gone down in Punjab, and so many other pressing issues that we have, socio-economic issues. I think they should be, in some ways, come to the forefront.
I think that is where we should end, because not only are these issues central to what is going wrong, these are issues that have a creep. They are spreading. You see Kashmir going through the same phenomena. And I think there's a larger question of what happens in post-militancy societies and what the government may like or not like in such societies. But it's also creeping down to Haryana, and it is having the same kind of problem there. It tends to spread. And there are certain aspects of Punjab through its popular culture that become sort of lightning rods for other states. The whole idea of the gang culture and how it is spread is all happening there. So Punjab is just not 2%. It is, in some senses, symbolizes India's entire involvement with its minorities, with its popular culture. It is a much larger symbol than its size, which is why this focus always on Punjab.
in a sense, to conclude, Punjab is a mirror to what India could be if India doesn't change its ways in some sense, especially with the kind of trauma minorities are going through, and the kind of non-state violence or state-backed violence that we are seeing in the rest of the country. That's a very depressing note to end on. But we have an election in Punjab, and I hope a lot of these issues, more substantive issues, come up, and the rest of the country probably learns the right lessons from Punjab rather than just focusing on UP and Adityanath when the elections are happening. And on that note, I think, Hartosh, we can conclude this conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.